Hey, folks, one of the Redneck Country Podcast. You are on with Real Redneck Todd Millard. And, of course, we've got the almost guy, Real Redneck Bill Tom. Bill, are you there?
I'm here, and it is a beautiful night for a podcast.
It's a little too warm of a night for a podcast.
Well, yeah. I'll get into that in a minute. I'll tell you why. But
oh, my gosh. It is like the wife came home, and then she turned on the air conditioner. Thank goodness.
See, this is where I was going to go in a minute or two here once we got our introductions done and everybody's phone checked out and make sure we're all ready. And I was going to complain a little bit.
I don't care about that. Who cares? They can hear me. That's all that matters. As far as I'm concerned, my mic's hot. We're good to go.
There you go.
So,
there you go.
And my wife is yelling, "You're welcome for turning on the air." If I wasn't afraid of her, I'd have turned it on this morning.
Would you? Oh, man. Who else we got tonight?
Well, sitting beside me is late tonight. I'm gonna prelude that because I got to dig where I can dig since he's been digging me as of late. But it is my father, the patriarch of Redneck Country, Real Redneck, Don Millard. Dad, is your mic hot?
It is, and so am I. I'm sweating from the walkover.
I heard you had to run.
Oh, I was walking pretty quick. Yep, a little behind my times tonight.
Bill, if that was the case, he would still not be here.
And you know what? I'm a little disappointed that you didn't even offer to pick him up on a hot night like that when you're running behind schedule.
The neighbors would have been out wondering why the ambulance was ripping down the street.
No, I got the energy now.
That's it. You built the stamina up over many, many miles of walking. Yeah. I get it.
Well, I'm excited because then, and you said, hey, so-and-so is going to come on tonight. And I'm like, this is excellent. And now when is he coming in? Can we bring him in right from the beginning? Because therefore, I now have somebody darn near as manly as me to back me up and protect me from the bashing.
Oh no,
the harassment,
I'm excited.
The bullying.
I'm excited because it's 3-1. Don't you even go there.
Oh,
It's 3-1.
Jay, you back me up, folks. Real Redneck. Bill's brother is sorry, Jay, I had to say that. I announced Dad as my father, so I'm taking that hit. We'll let you take the hit. Bill's brother, Real Redneck, Jay Tom. Jay, is your mic hot?
I am here, and I appreciate being on. I am also warm, and I am not a tea drinker.
Oh, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing this back to the manly podcast that it has always been.
Let me ask you a question to start off with. Do you drink coffee?
I don't drink anything hot.
There you go. I rest my case. It didn't even take long. I rest my case. I don't drink anything hot was the comment that he just made. So, where do you want to go from there, Todd?
Well, more manly than drinking coffee in the morning, I think, is cracking a pop or something with the quadruple the caffeine and pick me up. And I'm pretty sure that Jay's morning starts with said.
No, he starts with iced tea, right, Jay? Nothing hot.
It ain't iced tea. Break it down, Jay.
Whatever's got a lot of sugar in it, I'm drinking that. That's for sure.
There we go.
I have to tell you, I do enjoy listening to the podcast on Monday morning with my my double big gulp and my taquitos from 7-Eleven that you guys like to talk about periodically. And I have to say, you can't look as good as I do by eating healthy.
That's for sure. I give you that one for sure.
Yeah, I tell you what. Healthy looking Jay. You got to give him that.
Yeah, he's one heart attack away from retirement. That's what that kid's all about right there.
And he's the youngest of us all, I think, right? So it's all right. He's good to go.
Yeah, there you go.
He's living in the fast lane. We'll vicariously live
no
through
choice,
him.
Right? I mean, with what he puts through his body and how he lives, I'm surprised that he's able to get up every morning full of no pain and energy, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah, he's a specimen. That's just imagine if he did drink coffee. Holy
I'll tell you what,
jumper.
Yeah, I'd be afraid if the energy and brilliance came out of that kid.
So where do we want to start? Because we got an extra one on tonight with Jay, which is freaking awesome. So do we want to go around and what'd you do this week?
Yeah, I'm interested. I want to start with your dad this week.
Start with Dad.
Yeah, we never ever start with your dad, and he always.
Well, we don't want to lose the listeners.
And I got to look out. I got to look out for my guy there. Right?
I get the stats coming in, and it tells us how long people listen, and like at what point if some people cut off. So I didn't want. Now this week the stats might be a lot worse than they normally are. But all right, Dad, what did you do this week?
Well, as you know from previous podcasts, I blew a header gasket in the hot rod and on the left, and the one on the right was almost gone. So changed the header gaskets this week, and no more backfiring now when she starts up cold, and she's running good. In fact, I got home from babysitting tonight or today or whatever you call it, the schooling, and I took her out for a little run, and it's running beautiful. And
I will tell you, the gaskets did not blow from speeding.
No. I can imagine, but I tell you, I remember when Jay was there too. We went down your way pre-COVID for the goose hunt, and you started that in the garage.
Yeah,
and I have no idea how you stand beside that thing without earplugs on.
He's deaf. What do you mean how he stands? He's got hearing aids right now, Bluetoothed up to the system. It costs us a couple cool grand just to be able to get him in the studio here and get him hooked up. That's the dedication I have for wanting my father beside me. As much as I give him a hard time, it just proves it right there. It's out of love.
I wear hearing aids.
I echo that sentiment.
Sorry,
I don't mean to cut you off, but I got to tell you, I always thought that I was deaf, and I get yelled at by my wife all the time for being deaf or selective hearing. And I got to tell you, that car was loud.
I wear hearing aids, and it shuts down through loud noises. But I'm telling you, when she was cold and backfiring out through that header in the mornings in that garage, Eck went in there and it was banging in that garage. Yeah, it was pretty loud. And if it was in the evening in the dark, oh man, the flames that were flying in there were beautiful. And I got a nest of squirrels up in the rafters of the garage.
Cooked squirrel?
And when it starts up and started backfiring, oh, they were flying everywhere. It was cool.
That's awesome.
But it doesn't backfire now, so it's fine.
And I'm a little disappointed from all yous on this call that not one so far has sent me a picture of feathers.
We going there already?
No, we're not going there completely already, but I'm a little disappointed because this is your dad's turn to talk, and he's retired. He's got so much more time to turkey hunt than the rest of us. And if anybody was going to put a bird down this early, I had my money on your dad. And so far, I don't know what's going on.
He hasn't been bothering.
Well, when I go out, I sit with Bill, and I've been focusing on Bill, and birds all over us. We see Thoms, just can't get one close enough. And every time a bird comes in, Bill, get your safety off, and it's a hen, and we just can't get them one. And this week, I just getting worn out. I'm just so tired that I didn't even go out through the week this week.
2 naps a day this week.
Oh, man.
2 naps a day.
We were talking about what we were doing this week, and I was hoping it wasn't taking naps and not going turkey hunting.
No, it wasn't. I was gardening, cutting the lawn, getting my lawnmower running, working on the hot rod, flowers for the wife.
It's all
was busy all week,
naps.
But just never didn't go out hunting this
How do you
week.
spell gardening, Dad? NAPS.
That's it. NAPS. So
Nothing.
All right. Well, I guess we can bounce around a little bit here, Mr. Junior.
Yeah, I'm letting you choreograph the podcast wherever you want. So where are we going next?
Yeah, I want to see what you did this week. I'm almost certain that kayak is got some progress on it from this week. I'm almost certain about that.
It is. So it is. It's darn near close to go into the garage.
No, is it because your wife wants it out or because it's done?
Please. I wear the pants in this place, Bill.
Why are you whispering?
Just so you know.
Why are you whispering?
Out of respect for people's eardrums. We just talked about how Dad was deaf. Yeah. I don't want to do that to our listeners.
Yeah, I bet you.
But no, I'm almost there. All I need is 4 lock washers, and I know where they are. I just got to go get them. And it is such a pain in the rear end to get anything during this COVID lockdown gig that we're on with only roadside. Nobody's website works for ordering this hardware stuff. The other hardware stores' websites say they don't have it. Well, I know they do. Just let me in the door. But so luckily I got some buddies. I made some posts on Facebook. I got myself some bolts. I got actually Wendy, that her son has been on the podcast. He's the young bull rider that is itching to get back out there. And I see him commenting on our good buddy Alex's post now that Alex has got the Rockin' Rafter V. He's got his own little rodeo grounds kicking down.
He's getting pretty set up there, isn't he?
He is. He's like the full blown pen. Like he's ready to host. He's ready to rock and roll. So they reached out and her husband was able to find me some. So I am good to go on everything but lock washers, and we're ready to rock. I actually took when the motor's not on, you get some places that maybe I just do want to paddle, not very likely, but then so that when the front trolling motor's not on, it's this giant stainless steel plate on the front. And the whole point of this kayak is like, it looks freaking awesome. It's the battleship, man. Like it is just, when it's done, you're going to see some photos. So I took the time to camouflage the motor mounts because when the motor's not on, that big plate, I don't like it. So I camouflaged it. I painted it all up, primered it, sealed it. We're good to go. So all I need is those washers, and it is all said and done. And that's not totally true. My father-in-law dropped off some conduit for me, and I'm going to make some fishing rod holders to go on my milk crate that holds my tackle pack in the back, so that I can just stick them up and stand them upright. So all that, we are ready to go. Fish finder, we got her. I got two transducer mounts. I got one that goes through the scupper hole, and it holds up. Now the scupper hole, for anybody listening, now I'm a kayak professional.
Scupper hole. Those are boat technical terms that I don't know.
Well, let me educate you. There's one on the port side and on the starboard side. And what they are is holes, because you're going to get water in the kayak. Well, it's got channels.
A lot of water in the kayak. I can almost promise you that.
So it's got channels so if you stood up, the channels run below your feet like tiles, right? So you're not going to get wet feet. The water would just come in and run down those tiles right to the scupper holes, right back into the drink. So you can plug them if you don't want stuff coming up through it. But typically, because of the thickness of the kayak, and you're not going to get water coming up through unless it's really rough. So they're there for drainage. If you get water on the deck, it just runs down right through the scupper hole. So I have an actual mount that goes through the scupper hole, and that transducer tucks right up inside the groove of the kayak, which is just freaking phenomenal. So I got that, and then I got a magnetic one that you can go in the front hatch, and then that magnet's so strong with an arm that goes down into the water. So if you had side scan and stuff, so that one will clip on the outside at the front. So it just depends if I'm going tandem or if I'm by myself, and then the actual fish finder fits into my track, and I can move it wherever I want. So I am ready to go. And
I had a good conversation with a friend of mine this past weekend that had, the operative word here is had, two kayaks that were very similar to yours, and he was sold on them because they were, a nice leisurely activity where he would never tip and never get wet and that kind of stuff. And he bought himself a nice trailer to go behind his pickup truck so he could load them both on at the same time. And, he did it right. He couldn't buy one because he had his kids that were going to go with him. And he said, and I asked him, I said, hey, how you doing with those kayaks? I got a buddy of mine who's decking his kayaks out. And how are you doing with yours? Because I hadn't talked to him in, a year and a half or so. And silence. Silence. I'm like, is there a sore spot here? He says, I sold them before they killed me, is what he said. I sold them before they killed me. I said, what are you talking about? And he proceeded to tell me this story. And I was just about doubled over there laughing with the fact that he's not a small guy. He's a bigger guy. He's recently lost a bunch of weight, so he's a little bit smaller, but he bought these kayaks and put it in the water, and he went to get into it. And the first thing he did, instead of sitting in it, he fell right out the other side of it. So,
but see, I'm agile like a cat.
Yeah.
So that ain't going to happen to me.
fishing ninja.
That's right.
And then he tried to get back into the kayak after he fell out of the kayak, and he couldn't. So then he went over to the shore, and then rocks on the shore are slippery, and then he slipped on the rocks and bashed his head on the kayak. And this is all within the first half hour of trying to put it in the water for the first time. So
hope he wasn't wearing a life jacket that touches water and lights up.
So he finally gets in there and rides around for the day. And he was so frustrated at the end of day 1 or 2 or whatever it was, and he sold them. So somebody got a really good deal on kayaks. So whenever you get to that point that you're so frustrated
drone
with
will
these,
be in the air. It ain't gonna happen, Bill. I'm telling you what, because mine is so sturdy. That is the beauty. Guys sit on this, dangle their feet in the water, and reach down and lip the bass and pull it in.
Yeah, that's what they told him too.
Yeah, I've watched videos. New Canoe Frontier 12. That is where it's at. I tell you, I'm not going to tip. I'm not even going to get wet. In fact, I'm going to jump off of land onto it in such a fashion that the momentum's just going to take it out into the water, and I'm away to the races. Drop down the wireless motor. Have a good day. Now, let me tell you something else.
Jay, you want to go halves on a kayak?
Yeah, maybe. I've been trying to figure out about this kayak. You're adding all of these really fancy things to it. How are you going to get this thing into the water with all the weight stuff? And,
I built. So they make carts for them, right, to get it from your truck to the water. But being as redneck ingenuity as I am, I took an old fridge cart. I wrapped the sucker in pool noodles. And so now you just put that on the ground, down laying flat. And then you slide your kayak out of your truck onto that, one little ratchet strap around it, and then you wheel her towards the water. Unstrap it,
so
slide it in, throw it back in your truck.
I've seen your truck. It's not a small truck.
Yeah, but I drink milk, Jay. I'm drinking milk.
I've been face-to-face with you. You're not a big guy. I'm trying to figure out how you get the kayak from the truck to the dolly.
Well, the kayak only weighs 100. Oh my gosh, no. It only weighs 80 pounds. And you put the motor on after you get it out of your truck. So I'm good to go.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you thought of that.
Oh, I'm way ahead of you. Yeah, we ain't traveling with the motor on her. That's for sure. And I'm like $1.53 now. I'm drinking milk. I tell you what, we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. And I got to say, I'm really pumped because I got to give a shout out to the city of St. Thomas because they have so this was a thorn in my side forever. And yes, I watch our council meetings. So if anybody's listening, St. Thomas, what are we at, Dad? 40,000 population?
Oh, easy. Maybe over that now.
Maybe over that. But forever it was like 33. The signs never changed. But it was a smaller community. And so I watch city council meetings on local cable on Monday nights, and forever they have. So a good buddy of mine, you know him, Bill, and Dad definitely knows him, but trap shooter, Ray Axford, his uncle or some relation to him had what they called Axford gravel pits. And for way back in the day, and I remember my grandparents used to swim. Dad, you used to swim in it.
I used to swim in it. It was wonderful. Crystal clear, cold.
And Ray would comment on my Facebook because I watched these council meetings of my local town, and this is the gravel pits quit being gravel pits a long time ago, and they have some massive bass in them. So, but
when I was a kid, they used to have fishing tournaments in there. We'd not only swim in it, but we'd go down on a Saturday for a fishing tournament.
Like phenomenal. But
what are they fed by?
Well, it's
just dug out, just spring.
Oh, so they're somebody's put the fish in there as opposed to them coming
I would believe so.
At some point, maybe a stork carried them in its mouth.
Oh, is that the way it works? Yeah, I guess it is St. Thomas.
I don't know. It got fish anyway.
So, but yeah, it was a gravel pit. It's got some massive bass in it. Massive. So how it went was, and I mentioned Ray because he would comment when I'd make a post because I watched this and council. So they've said no fishing allowed in this particular lake. So I make a Facebook post, I'm watching council. Why are our tax dollars going to arguing about this? It drives me absolutely insane because there's so much more that our city needs to do aside from that. Yes, I'd love to fish it, but let's move on. And so he would comment, I used to swim in that. It was a relative of mine, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, as it went, it was sold to a land developer, local guy, who then gave it to the city. When the city took it on, they said no fishing. They then put all these aquatic plants around the edge so that it would not erode or continually, I guess, take land away. And they built a nice pathway around it. And now it is an illustrious area of our town that you can buy a house that backs right onto it. But you have the walking paths and bike riding paths that go all around it. And the local high school forever has a rowing team, and they would row in it. So they allowed the rowing team to use it. Well, a bunch of kids forever and ever, there's big bass in it because 12-year-old kids down there fishing. And so it became this argument that the police said, we don't have time. We have bigger fish to fry. No pun intended. Then to go, yeah, you like that, eh? Then to go down and charge or try to remove, because you can't charge a 12-year-old kid, but try to remove a 12-year-old kid. So they said, all right, let's get that. And this was going on in council for a long time. We'll get the bylaw officer. Well, the bylaw officer doesn't have the right to ask for ID. So he needs the police officer. The police officer said, we're not coming along. So people fished it anyway. And so there was forever 2-3 years. This has been bantering back and forth. Last Monday, they finally voted 6-3. They've now opened up the lake to fishing, and you can put a kayak in her.
Sweet.
So my man, 5 minutes from my house, one of the best bass fisheries, local ponds, like we've talked about on this podcast, has just opened up.
Which was the primary reason why you decided to get the kayak in.
So I could get to places with no opportunity. You got it. No docks, landlocked little ponds where I know there's large bass. I take my John boat, but you got to have a couple buddies to get the John boat in because, yes, Jay, that sucker does weigh a lot. So this, I'm rocking and rolling now. So I'm pretty pumped. I am pretty freaking ecstatic. And now today, so they went down and they interviewed some kids that were now fishing down there, and they were catching bass. Already, yeah. And I'm like, see, here's my only concern. And so tip number 1 for the podcast tonight to any new fisher folk that are out there: you catch a bass right now, they are spawning. They're sitting on their nests. You pull in Big Mama. The minute you do, the sunfish move in and eat those eggs before Mama has a chance to get back on, even if you do the catch and release thing. So I do not bass fish before the 4th Saturday in June when our season opens. Yep. And so I was distraught watching this news article and them interviewing this dad and his kid down there fishing, because I'm like, man, I love it. I love kids fishing. I'm excited to fish it. But right now, there's predominantly only bass in it. You're going to be pulling the bass off. The sunfish are going to move in. You're going to hurt the fishery. And now that it's been announced, people are going to flock to it because we're on COVID lockdown right now where you can't do anything but fish. And now I was distraught. So today, City Council, the City of St. Thomas announced that they are going to police it and say, absolutely no fishing. We're going to let you fish, but no fishing from May to June 24th or the last Saturday in June.
That's perfect.
Which,
you know what?
I applaud them.
Yeah, it gives the opportunity for the public to have something new to fish, but it does it responsibly so you don't ruin it for the next generation.
You got it. And now if you're a person walking down there, you still have the right to say, hey, you know what? I don't think you should be fishing right now. And it doesn't have to be policed by the police, because if you are invested in keeping that fishery that we should be, oh my gosh, so pumped about, that you should go down, because it's a pretty good sized piece of water. So you should be able to now at least have the confidence to say, hey, we're pumped, but you shouldn't be fishing until the last Saturday in June. Yeah. Let those big mamas sit along the shore. Let them get their nests going. Let them spawn. And then next year, we're going to catch double the amount. And the year after that, and the year after that.
They made it follow the rules, or is it catch and release down there? I guess they can't really
that's up in the air, right? Somebody said that, I was reading posts on Facebook, of course, because that's where you get all of your info now. Yeah, and somebody said, hey, they should make a catch and release. And I don't think that they've done that. They're going to, right now, what the announcement today was to stay in tune with the M&R regulations, that they are going to shut it down until June, the last Saturday in June.
That's good. Yep, that's not down forever, but it's down for now. So.
And which is, I'm just so pumped. I am ready to rock. Could it come at a better time? I got my kayak.
No,
I like, and oh yeah, I'm so pumped. I am absolutely.
It might be a nice little place for you to have a first test run too, right?
Absolutely.
So,
not that I need a test run, but you mean like how I'm gonna show off for the cameras when I run and jump on and slide her in.
You don't have far to go to get it back, you know. It's only 5 minutes from your house.
The problem is everybody knows me, so they're going to be like, I'll be on Facebook. Todd just sunk his kayak. Look at this moron. Which they know me, so it's okay. It'll just be understood. They don't even have to say, look at this moron. Look at this Todd.
Yeah. The implication is there.
So that's what I did this week was I got my kayak ready.
Well, it's good. I mean, I'm anxious to see it actually in motion. And on the water. So
freaking right. I think we got to get together before that. Might have to because I'm seeing lots of people catching walleye and as well, or pickerel, however you want to argue, and if you want to say they're two different fish, yada yada yada, and pike and brown trout out of the Thames, which is a pretty good fishery around here local, but then in the Grand River too, which we said we were going to meet up and hit it. Do that for sure. So now that we're getting this lockdown over, we might have to plan a weekend and I'll meet you up there.
Yeah. They just made a bunch of announcements today. Actually, I was listening to, I don't want to get into the politics side of the things on the podcast too much, but yeah, they're starting to loosen things up a little bit come June 14th or so. And before that, we may have the opportunity or if we have to wait a little bit, then we can do some fishing. So
I do got to say too, I also got a new gun stock that I'm so pumped to get on my Caesar Greenie and get it going now because gun clubs are opening up. So I got to get on that.
That was not a question. Our gun club's opening up with the announcement today.
Yeah. Yep. It's right in there as of Saturday.
Nice.
As of Saturday at 12:01 a.m. that outdoor and gun clubs, including rod and gun clubs, it's named in the document.
Sweet.
Yep. There you go. Next Wednesday, back down to gun club shooting again.
Yeah. Good deal. Because we were just you were talking to my wife this week when she was shooting. I'll get into that in a minute. But
I was going to bring that up. I was waiting for what you did this week, but you carry on.
We were trying to figure out if Wolfstein Archery, which is our local archery club, just one road over, would be open and when, because she was in there this week and they just got all new targets for their 3D archery range. So we're kind of excited to get that before the mosquitoes and black flies get too thick in there. But
she's good to go, but are you allowed to shoot crossbows? Like, do they have a accessible one for you?
Yeah. The only way that I would shoot better than her is if I had the crossbow in hand.
I tell you what, she sent me some pictures of a grouping that was a loony. Now, for any Americans listening, a loony is like what, an inch circumference? Yeah, and she had stacked 5 arrows up in that loony, and I was like, wow. My first response was, well, Bill's got his 5-yard pin down. Is he moving back to 10 now? But
I can promise you 2 things. 1, it wasn't me, and 2, it was a lot further than 5 yards.
I guarantee it. Like, yeah, they were drilled in there, man. I'll tell you what.
So she had a little bit of a disappointment when we took the bows out for the first time of the year, where her release went missing. We had no idea where it went. Well, I ended up finding it in a bucket, like a water bucket that was right underneath.
She conveniently couldn't find it. I like this.
Sabotage. Well, there's a little bit different story here, but yeah, that release, I guess, fell off her bow for whatever reason. I probably hit it and it fell into the bucket, or the kids did, whatever. And the bucket was just kind of an overflow for the water hose for the driveway. Anyways, long story short, well, it rusted the little wee tiny spring on the inside of it, and it was inoperable. So she was using my daughter's wrist release, and she hated it, absolutely hated it. And I had 3 years ago, maybe, I invested in chocolate addiction thumb trigger release. And I don't know if you know what that is or not.
I do, because she sent me a picture of it.
Oh, did she? Yeah. So it's made by Carter. It's a really nice four finger hold with a thumb.
I said,
activated
where
release.
did you get that release? And she said, oh, it's Bill's. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess he doesn't need it anymore now that he has a crossbow.
Yeah. Well, I bought it for target panic. So I've gone over this.
Oh, they say it's better, right? You don't punch the trigger and everything else.
No, but there is a little thing that you need to do with a thumb release. For everybody who shoots compound bows, and I do shoot compound bows, just I don't hunt with it because I don't have a whole lot of time to practice. And my wife is really good, and I don't like shooting with her because she makes me look bad every time I shoot with her.
She drinks coffee, folks. She also drinks coffee.
Yeah, and she drinks whiskey without any pop in it too. So, I mean, there you go. That's my wife.
I'm picturing like Gretchen Wilson out now with like a baby on her hip.
Yeah. Well, we went to the archery range for one of the first times we took the stroller, and I don't know if it was Violet that was in the stroller walking around the archery course. Well, we were there, but anyway, so yeah, I had a target panic, and for anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's the worst possible thing that you can have as a compound bow shooter, where your pin locks. For me, anyways, target panic was I pulled back, 20-yard pin would always rest 1 inch lower than the center of the bullseye, and I for no way in at all could get that pin to come up on. You're a trap shooter. You want to float bullseye. That target. It's exactly the way it could be explained from your target picture. Was that pin was directly below, as if the trap target was on top of my barrel, and I could not get that pin to come to the center of that bullseye. Shotgun sportsman, you're floating the target. Well, it doesn't work for archery, I tell you, because then what you're doing is you're releasing as you're overcompensating and pulling through the bullseye, and it does. The accuracy is gone at that point in time. So what they said, I read a whole bunch of articles and breathing techniques and all kinds of different things that people are doing. There's no doubt in my mind. Jay, are you picturing like Bill's all of a sudden he starts levitating before he lets the arrow go? I could see him to concentrate that much. He's read enough articles. He's got it all down. He comes in tune with the bow. And his feet come off the ground. I could picture this. I know the personality. I know Jay's going to back me up on this.
He definitely would probably have his binders out and his charts and whatever was necessary to make this work.
Yeah, well, none of it worked. I tell you right there.
I'm just picturing the little guy on Foghorn Leghorn. I can't remember his name, but carry on.
Yeah, that guy. The rootin' tootin' lasso looping popgun shooting guy.
But I think you just drove home my point. Thank you, Bill.
Well, anyways, so I decided, reading all this stuff, and it's 99% mental. I don't know. You can't fix it with any different tools or techniques and stuff, but I tried to fix it with getting a new release, trying to change something drastic up in my setup, and this thumb release was where I decided to go. Well, you can set these things up that are so sensitive.
I love it. It's just back tension part at that, right? You just start to tweak your shoulder blades together and
it's gone. Well, that works real well if you've got a lot of practice, that you've done it a long, long time. But do you know how many arrows I launched over the target, pulling that bow back to try to get it into the right anchor point on my face? I went looking for a lot of arrows, and it got to a point where I started getting scared about how dangerous it was.
The release is expensive, but it's only half the price of what it actually cost you.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm lucky I got a farm field behind me that's got nothing there. So I had to start at 5 yards, literally 5 yards, pulling back. So if by chance I had a misfire and that went off, I was not looking for arrows in the field. And believe me, for everybody that's listening, I'm completely safe. There's nothing behind. There's no houses. There's no risk of me hurting anything besides my pride.
Folks, he couldn't kill anything if he was aiming at it, so we're okay.
No, not with that setup. That's for sure. So what happened was I put it in the toolbox and I left it. So fast forward 1.5 years, my wife needs a new release. And I'm thinking, let's give her this one to try. If she likes it, she can use it. And it took her maybe 20 arrows to get in tune with it. And that's the group size she shoots at 20 and 30 yards consistently.
Isn't that awesome?
No, it's not, because then I can't even shoot.
I
with her.
totally think it is all just who you are, Bill. I think that's because you are so, and this is just my opinion. You can, well, I guess you can't mute my mic, but you're just so.
Surprise, he's got an opinion. Holy moly.
You're so particular, right? Like the de facto stand, you got to research everything, know how it works, and then you've got to fine tune it and fine tune it and fine tune it and fine tune it and fine tune it, right? Like that's your personality. Yeah. It's got to be, there's the right way to do it, and you are going to do it the right way the first time. You're going to read the instructions. You're going to understand. And so I think, that target block comes to people like your personality, right? Because you're just that detailed. And so your whole time, your brain is thinking. Where people like me, you just got to be a little stupid sometimes, and then you're good to go.
I equate what Bill does to Renee Russo from the movie Tin Cup, where she comes out with all these fancy gadgets trying to figure out how to golf. And then Kevin Costner basically just says, grip it and rip it, let the big dog fly. Way too much thinking. Just let it happen.
You just got to listen to your little brother.
So much. Just let it happen.
There you go. He just tin cupped you, Bill. Let it happen.
Just tin cupped me. Yeah. Anyways, the other.
I like that. Thank you, Jay. I love this.
The other part that was a little bit frustrating is my son picked up my wife's bow and is pretty near shooting the same patterns as she is. Within his first, I don't know, he shot a little bit last year, but now he's starting to get a little bit bigger, a little bit more muscular, and he can hold that bow back. He can't pull my bow back yet, which is cool because then he's going to start using it and out shooting me with my own compound. But he figured out how to wink because he's left eye dominant. So trying to get him either a left-handed bow or get him to shoot with one eye closed and shoot a right-handed bow like I do. So he picked up my wife's bow, which is less of a draw weight than mine, and he can hold it and he can shoot it, and I won't shoot with him now either. So I got to shoot by myself in the rain, I guess, when nobody else wants to shoot.
That's awesome. I like it.
Yes. So that's kind of what we got up to a little bit today. This week we had some barbecued pulled pork. I had a 11-pound pulled pork.
I don't think I got pictures of that. Normally you do. I not send it?
Yeah, I didn't send any pictures of. And I did a chicken on Sunday, and I didn't take any pictures of that either. That turned out really good too.
Just feel like I'm not part of the crew anymore.
Yeah,
you probably sent them to Dad.
I apologize. Yeah, I did actually. No, I didn't. Not this week. I sent them peanut butter sandwiches when I had those.
So you didn't get up to turkey hunting? You didn't do any turkey hunting? No, you said you weren't going to. Yeah, righto.
No, I didn't get any turkey hunt. I'll be out this weekend. I'll be out Sunday and Monday. So
I think I'm going out tomorrow morning. Dad, you want to go out tomorrow morning?
No.
I think I'm going out tomorrow morning. Yeah, what's up with that? What do you mean no?
I am wiped. I'm tired. I've not recovered
Looks like I'm shooting a turkey tomorrow.
Yeah. I remember the last time you went alone, how that worked out for you.
I built a kayak this week, Bill.
Yeah. I almost got the boat finished too, by the way.
Do you?
But yeah, I don't know how far we want to go on that. I won't go too far, but I got the boat on the trailer. It's completely redid the trailer. That's done. I got boat insurance now, so that's good.
You're ready to go.
I'm ready. I got a laundry list of things that I've got to do, which are little small things. Wire up the front battery and put the front deck on. This small stuff. But I'm thinking by the opener bass fishing season, I'll be ready to go.
Well, I hope so. That's a freaking month and plus away.
Well, I'm busy, man. I'm busy. I got things. I got to go turkey hunting so that we can maybe have somebody on this podcast that's actually going to shoot a turkey.
Yeah, so. You might have to. It's pretty sad when the almost guys got to pull up the socks and tell the stories. It's we're not looking too great right now, but hence you're right. I know where you're going.
A lot not looking too great. We've got my brother on the phone.
I'm excited. To say, hey, Jay, what did you do this week or this past month?
Well, this past month, I've been out in the bush a bunch. It's pretty much any free time I've got. I've been out there. I've had the same amount of luck that everybody else on the phone call here has had, but it's been fun and interesting, and I've been trying to learn and trying to second guess everything that I do, and I'm not as analytical as my brother is and as much of the research, but I still do a lot of thinking and reading and listening and watching videos and trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong or trying to get some
nothing.
Some tips.
It's the weather.
Tricks.
It's the wind.
I'm believing all of these things. I know last podcast Bill was telling you about my tree falling experience in the bush there. And
yes, the Widowmakers.
All the rain that we've had, there's a significant amount of water in the bush that I hunt, more than normal, obviously. And I'm wondering if that's pushed them out of the bush that I hunt and move them, because I see them across the street in a field that I don't have permission, and I see them on different fields on my way home from the hunt, and usually after I've struck out all day. So I know they're around.
I've had them come through some swampy bushes, like where we hunt the David Suzuki Woods. It's a pretty swampy bush, but they'll go around the swamp. I mean, I haven't seen them walk through it, and they're able to go around it. But it's a pretty swampy bush, but they'll go around it. Like and stick to little dry patches and come through it. Okay, they don't avoid that bush completely, but I suppose it depends how wet it is.
Well, go ahead, Bill.
You had a pretty good experience. I wanted to kind of touch on for all new hunters out there that of the first your first hen. I think the first hen when you were calling. So
well, I had two kind of on the same, I guess, weekend. I think it was 2 different days, or at least 2 different sits. But, I made the mistake because I don't know exactly, because like I said, I feel like they had moved on. So, we were kind of just picking a spot to sit with, using previous knowledge, knowing that they were in the general area, but not knowing which tree specifically they would roost in, or which trees, or whatever the case may be. And so the first time we went out, sure enough, we found an area that we had seen turkeys on my camera pass by, and it's dark, and okay, let's sit under this tree. This looks like a good tree to sit under, a little bit of cover. And sure enough, as I walk past the tree, I bump into it with my decoy bag, and you hear that turkey take off out of the tree, and away it goes. So that was my first morning.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. So very first experience, first time out, first morning. That was the how my day started. So that was the only thing that we saw that day, other than the 4 deer that went walking past us. Later I guess it would have been the next day. I went out by myself, picked a different area to sit, and that's when I had my first kind of true hen experience, I guess. As a new hunter, I'm using the reed call, and I've got a slate call, and I'm making these calls, and as Bill called it, the dead cat sound or whatever. I'm second guessing. Am I making the right sound? Am I doing the right cadence? Does it sound real? All of these things are running through my mind, because talking to you guys, listening to you guys, I know that a lot of times you get a lot of calls back, and you hear the gobbles and the shock gobbles and all of these things, and I wasn't getting any of that. We're not hearing any of that stuff.
I was going to ask on Facebook, because I seen you post your decoys and your setup and a frustrated comment, and I started to type. I don't think I hit send, because I was like, no, that just sounds too cocky, Todd, which is kind of my MO. And so, which surprised me that I actually didn't type it. So
I didn't think you had a delete button.
But you're right. But I thought, I wonder if he's hearing gobbles.
No. So that was the thing, is I'm not hearing them. And even like whether I sit there quiet, and let the world wake up, I'm not hearing them. Whether I'm calling, I wasn't hearing them.
And it's not windy?
So, well, there's definitely been a few windy mornings, but not to the point where I'm thinking that the wind is playing a factor.
Right. Where we're going, minimum. So on a windy day, I didn't hear a gobble. On the non-windy day, I heard 8 different gobblers in the trees.
So I would say I've had 0. This is why I believe that the turkeys, up until a couple of days ago anyway, I believe that the turkeys had moved out of my bush that I'm permitted to hunt.
Right.
So I've just been trying different calls.
Well, I got one word for you, Jay.
What's that?
Trespass.
Yeah. Believe me, there's been times where I've been driving home and I see these beautiful Thoms just off the road, and I think I could probably jump that ditch with the truck, and I could get there and in and out real quick. But that being said, sure enough, I think it was one of the evenings I was out. It was an evening hunt, and again, I've been reading, and maybe not call as much in the evening, but I'm still doing it anyway. Just to I'm trying different things, and I can tell you that I had made a call, with my reed call. I couldn't even mimic it, but I made some kind of call in cadence. And I'll be honest with you, there must have been a hen. Well, I know there was a hen because I ended up seeing her, but she mimicked the call that I made almost immediately after I stopped. It was so close and loud. I thought that there was another hunter sitting beside me making fun of me, because that's how realistic it sounded in my ear to my call that I had made.
Come at me, bro. Where are you? Show yourself.
This is the thing. I know that there's a guy that hunts in a bush that's kind of across from mine. His bush is on the property line. And I swear I thought that he was walking out and, was trying to make me know that he was coming or something, because it was so loud, almost the exact same cadence, same sound that I made. And I pulled my head around and I actually grabbed my binos to look for the guy. And that's when I see the hen's head pop up, and she's staring at me, because I made the movement, and then off she went. So never heard a gobble, but I'm telling you, for a new hunter to have that, sense that, hey, something I did at least got a reaction was awesome. Like, my heart was pumping, and, it was a really, really exciting thing. And, that validation, I guess, is the word I was looking for, to hear that. And I'm telling you, I couldn't believe how loud it was. And she was only, 30, 40 yards away. So it was pretty cool. Again, I haven't heard any gobbles, and I know from past years hunting, the one or two times Bill and I've been out and I've heard them in the bush, I know that's a completely different feeling, but I'll say for my first kind of response, it was a pretty exciting thing for me.
Right on. That would be kind of cool. You made up your own language with the turkey and you didn't even know it. That, or you had the only psychologically ill hen in the area that's like, hey, I can communicate with this one.
She likes the dead cat sound, I guess. And then she thought, I think the hen was making fun of me.
You were being mocked.
Yeah, honestly, that's exactly what I thought. So it was pretty cool. So other than that, I've been out, I've struck out. I've been in the bush pretty much every chance I can. I had a couple of deer coming out to me. They were within, I think my decoys, I have them that day. They were about 30 yards roughly. And the two deer walked past them within about 5 yards. Didn't even know I was there. And again, I watched them for a while. And that's the other thing we talk about too, a little bit too, right?
Not really too heavy, but in deer hunting season, turkey decoys are confidence decoys.
Are you going to do it?
I don't know.
I see. I never get them that close. I had them. I had 8 deer I put over to Dad and Bill, and then they must have put them back. They came back, but they only got like 100 yards. From maybe 80 yards. I went live on Redneck Country with them, but they didn't come closer. I've only had it one time where I had a deer come and it was playing with my decoy. Like, it was jumping at it and then back, but that was 20 years ago. In fact, I think it was 20 years ago this year. And that was probably the only time that I've had a deer actually get close to my decoys.
Yeah. I'm surprised that you haven't tried that, just because you try all the left field type
My
stuff.
My son-in-law always says he wants to try it, but he's never got around to doing it. Like, he hunted turkeys with us a couple of times this year, but he hadn't hunted for some time. But he said he always had deer come to the decoys. And so he was adamant come fall, he was going to take a couple turkey
I might give
decoys,
it a try.
But he never did. So
I've heard for years, when you're walking into your deer stand, if you can't necessarily get in quietly, you take a turkey call and you make a couple of calls as you're walking through.
I'll tell you, they're big jerks. I don't know if I've shared this on here before, but where the one spot where I bow hunt, there's enough Thoms in the winter, like in deer season. And they don't seem to be there too much in the springtime, but all of the Thoms flock up. And we were sitting there, And I heard this ruckus and I thought, holy jumping, we got something coming. So I stood up and I grabbed my compound bow and I get ready and I'm looking for a deer. And then there had to be a line of 12 to 15 toms coming through like a parade. And they are the loudest freaking little jerks, like a bunch of ticked off teenagers. And they're coming through the bush like louder than anything you could imagine. And that lead tom would turn around and walk, 3 or 4 toms back, fly up and kick that one. And then he'd kick him back and then he'd run up and kick the second one. And then that second one would run back and kick like the 8th one. And they just do it all the way through the woods. As they're walking, they're running around kicking each other like a bunch of jerks. And walked right on past me and right on. I tell you, they are loud. So that's probably not a bad idea. Jay, remember that or remind me of that come October.
I will for sure.
I'm doing it. I'm going to start taking decoys. That's it. Bow hunting this year. I'm doing it. Taking turkey decoys because typically I don't hunt with decoys anyway. So in the last 20 years, for me to say that I haven't had deer come to my decoys, it's probably because I don't really use decoys a lot.
Yeah. How many times have I had decoys in the turkey decoys in the field while turkey hunting and deer have come in? And it's countless.
No doubt.
Yeah, no kidding. I remember one time I was picking up my decoys. And a deer walked right out in the field, probably 40 yards away from it. I have pictures of it because Pippi and I were hunting. I don't even know where we were, but the grass was a little bit taller. It was later in the season. That doe came within, I don't know, 30, 35 yards from where we had the decoy set up. And it stood there like there was nothing wrong.
Didn't care.
No, couldn't care less. Absolutely could care less.
I'm doing it. Remind me, please, somebody. Concussions, I'll forget. October.
Well, come on now.
Yeah.
You're asking me to remember?
Jay,
come on.
Jay, you got to remind us both.
Yeah. Remember, I'm the guy that can't remember a trigger lock key, and you want me to remember this in October.
Well, I can't. I used to be dad, but now I got to take care of him too. We're screwed. That's it. Well, folks, if we remember, I'm going to make a calendar entry.
Do you have a little notepad that you can write something like this down on and put it somewhere?
Dad, would you pencil that in your book? October 1st, turkey decoys, bow hunting.
Got it.
Yeah, He said that without moving. Yeah. You can imagine that's getting written down.
I got the trigger lock thing fixed too. I got rid of the key ones. I went to the combo, so I'm good.
Me too. I just don't use them. I leave them home.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it.
I tell you what.
I had a suitcase the other day I was trying to get into, and I couldn't remember the combination for that. So I'm not sure if the combo locks are going to be. I try to make them all the same so I don't forget them, but apparently something went wrong with this one, and I decided to be fancy, and it didn't work. So
that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome.
Are you giving up now? Are you going to try to go? Yeah, that's it. Good call.
So can I say what I was going to type on and I deleted?
Of course.
Leave the decoys at home and get your butt in the woods.
No, you did put that there.
You did tell me that.
Yeah, you did tell that.
So
I deleted it a couple times before I hit send that.
You reworded it a few times to be nicer. Come on.
Yeah, I think you might have said it's time to run and gun or something like that.
Oh, okay. So I did type it. I did send it.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, you did.
See, I am cocky.
And I think the other thing that
is literally typewriting in his calendar for October in his planner. I'm not making this up. He's got, what's it say?
Turn the mattress,
and then he's got turkey decoys.
Every 3 months, the mattress gets turned.
He's really seen this.
It was already.
Can I tell you? You should have seen. I'm surprised there was room for all of the nap entries that are in there.
Let's take a picture of that and post it. I think the most frustrating thing for you, Jay, is the fact that farmer is a bit of a jerk.
Yeah, I didn't really mention that, but that's why I said up until this week I thought they had moved on.
What,
but
the adjacent?
I got a message from the farmer Tuesday morning, I think it was, telling me that there was a couple of turkeys in a certain part of the field, which was about 25 yards from where I've been sitting every time I've been out.
Oh.
But unfortunately, I have to work, so I wasn't able to be there that morning, but I will be out as much as I can over this next.
I tell you
days.
what, I got a landowner that does the same to me, and it's actually my wife's relative. But he'll send me pictures of this. There's a giant buck that I've been trying and zeroed in on and obsessed with the last couple of years. We've talked about it. And so he will send me pictures of it under my stand when he gets up in the morning, and he's like, "Where are you? You're not in your stand, are you? Take a look at this." And then I get up and I'm like, "All right, you know, this wasn't an innocent text. You know what you're doing. Quit texting me."
Just keep you motivated, right?
Yeah. Oh, and it does. It builds that addiction, the darn friggin' thing.
That just tells me he must be noisy going in when the deer doesn't show up when he's there.
No.
I'm not surprised. He doesn't have his slippers on.
Yeah, I didn't chirp with like a turkey or take decoys, but this year it's done. I got him now.
Practice walking like a deer a little more. He must not have the technique down yet.
You wearing your shorts out in the woods this weekend?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
No, but I probably will wear Crocs. I think we're about the point where it's time to put the Crocs on.
Yeah, I think it's about that time. Put my running shoes on or something.
I had running shoes.
I'm not putting the big boots, that's for sure.
No. And yeah, we're going to sweat. And it might be the Thermacell. I might be looking for that tonight.
No question. That's a tip for all you new turkey hunters. This time of year, black flies and mosquitoes, please get yourself either some bug spray or a Thermacell.
I tell you what, when we first got our Thermacells, I didn't think that I thought, okay, this is a gimmick, and holy crap, do they work.
I tell you, I thought the same thing right until the butane ran out in it, and all of a sudden I got swarmed.
We've had that, haven't we, Dad?
Oh, yeah.
We've had like a wall of them because we got two. Me and Dad sitting against the same tree and got it going, and there's like a wall that you can see them, and they're not coming any closer. And then, once one runs out, it's time to go.
It's
that is a question
amazing.
I actually have as well. What do you guys do for ticks?
Nothing. So everybody says, and I just, this blows my mind how many people, like there was a dude on Facebook the other day that had a baggie of water full of ticks, and he's like, check yourself, they're out in full force. Now I say this, and I should knock on wood, but in all of the years, like we're over 20 plus years of hunting, I've had a tick on me that I've seen one time.
I had one Dad? Last week.
Did you really? That's the only one. You're good for 20 years. You're good for 20 years, Jay.
It was the same time that I took the picture of those decoys. I had my glove off, and I had put my phone down, turned my free hand over, and it was crawling across the back of my hand.
See, and I had one on my hand when we got in the truck, got up a block away from the Suzuki Woods, looked down, there's a tick on my hand. It's the only time that I have had a tick on me. Yeah. Dad,
You've seen these guys? You've seen these? Never?
Never that I've seen. Never. Nope. Of course, I tuck everything in socks and cuffs and tight and then.
But you never seen him on your clothes or anything either, right?
No, I haven't seen him on the clothes.
Yeah, and he's 72, hunted since he was 15.
And that's a funny thing too. You see guys on Facebook and the turkey hunting page or whatever you call those things on Facebook. I don't know what they are. I'm not fancy like you guys that know all these Facebook terminologies, but the Ontario turkey hunter thing, the guy had duct tape wrapped around both legs, and he had like 24, 30 ticks on each leg. I'm like, where are you going?
Yeah, right.
That you got that much coverage
farm
with ticks.
I get it.
I've only ever had a couple, but
no, one time have I ever had a tick on me. And that's why my kids are like, we can't go in the woods. There could be ticks. I'm like, my gosh, once in all the years. And I'm in the woods a lot.
Yeah.
So
and it wasn't in you. It was on you.
It was on my hand.
There's a difference. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I flicked him out the truck window. Have a good day.
Yeah. That's enough of that.
Yep.
The only sad thing this weekend, I watched the forecast tonight before I come over.
Don't even go here.
And starting Saturday, I think 40% chance of rain right through the week.
Oh, that won't bother me as long as there's no wind.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right through the week. 40 to 60% chance of rain.
Like I'm going to shoot one tomorrow morning. And then
that just goes for my entire season so far. Every time I've had an opportunity to get out, It's either been windy or raining.
Yeah.
Like, or there's been people. I mean, for me, for hunting on public land, which is different than you guys, but one of these times it's going to happen where there's a nice calm morning, there's a tom in the tree, and it's not windy and it's not raining.
That's like the perfect storm.
One could only hope. I mean, you buy enough lottery tickets and maybe someday, one day you'd win, but I don't buy lottery tickets.
I was going to say, sometimes you're almost there. It's always just.
I am the almost guy, right?
Yep. Some people are bridesmaids, Bill.
Yeah. One of these days. But,
man.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So that's I wanted to say that, but I thought about that when we were bringing Jay on. I thought, hey, I know Jay's coming on. I'm going to tell him what I didn't type. And now I'm glad that I did type that. But yeah, you all right?
Yeah.
Don't use that mic. It might have COVID. So I'm, you can take that home with you. I'm thinking it's time. The wind is gone. I'm now going to hunt in the woods. Not going to hunt the fields because I don't think the hens are going out as much into the fields now. They're going to start hunkering down on nests. So I'm going to stick.
You know what? I believe you. And the only reason why I say that is because I've seen more solo toms working away across the field than in the last couple of weeks than I have seen all season.
It's go time now. Get in the woods, no decoys. Call, let them know you're there. They'll gobble 2,000 yards away. They can close that gap in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm going in the woods.
They got a different mindset right now. They will travel to find a hen that's active.
Yep.
You know, when they're on the other side of the road, the other side of the farm, that they have a couple of hens that are willing and able, and they're there. They're not going to come to you on a whim and a hope. But now that those hens aren't responding and that they've already been bred and are sitting on eggs, I guarantee those toms are cruising around a little bit more to find.
Yep. And no wind. I'm gonna sneak in the bush, no decoys, sit against a tree, and call one in and shoot him in the face.
You're gonna be right in the bush. You're not gonna be on a bush edge.
Nope, in the woods.
Right
100 yards in the woods.
How much?
100 yards.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What size farm do you hunt, Jay? Like how much woods would you say you have?
That's a good question, as a matter of fact. I think if we were to go from the bush edge back to the property line, there's probably, I would say, 150 yards to the property line. The bush extends past that, of course. And then going right to left, you're probably 600-700 yards, maybe 1,000 yards across.
A lot.
There's a lot there.
I'm telling you,
there's definitely a lot there.
They've seen the decoys on the edge. Some have been educated. Some have seen lots of farmers and hunters walk in the edge and run back in the woods. So they're a little leery stepping out into that clearing, but they are not inside the woods. No danger in the woods. You're in the woods, no decoys. So they're looking. They're going to keep coming. Shoot one in the face.
Yep.
Maybe I'll try that.
You know that, right?
I'll definitely be out, I think, Sunday morning. And if I can, I'm going to try and get out Saturday evening as well. And then Monday is kind of up in the air. But I'm going to be out there as much as I possibly can because you can't shoot them when you're sitting in your basement. So.
That's right. I agree.
Well, I wish everybody the best of luck in this weekend. And hopefully we get some stories of some success.
Ditto. There will be messages flying around tomorrow morning.
So.
Guaranteed.
Good luck, guys. Have a good long weekend.
Yeah. Good luck to everybody, and thanks for having me on again. I appreciate it.
Oh, always welcome. Love it.
Yeah,
I love it when I got some camaraderie that I could actually relate to.
Hey, Jay, don't wait for us to call you. Call in.
Yeah. I more like to listen most days, especially when I don't have as much to add. You know, I wish that I had more to.
Hey, as long as you can add little jabs at your brother there, we're good to go, my man.
Yeah. Bring your iced tea and come on.
Iced tea.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Yeah, bring Candace on.
I enjoy you being on, kid. It's good.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, stay close to your phones tomorrow morning.
All right. Well, best of luck. We'll be waiting.
Luck is for the
weekend, gentlemen.
Have a good one.
You guys too. Take care.
And that'll do it for this week, folks. For the Redneck Country Podcast, I'm Bill, the Almost Guy Tom.
And I'm Todd. And thanks for listening. And folks, if you want to be part of the podcast or you want to give us some feedback or really contact us about anything, feel free to email us at podcast@theredneckcountry.com. Again, that's podcast@theredneckcountry.com. Thanks for listening. Talk to you again next week.